What's going on, everyone? It is David Palmer, Leo King, and welcome to your weekend astrology forecast for this July 4th and 5th, 2026 horoscope. I'm your astrologer, David Palmer, the Leo King, here to illuminate the collective consciousness. Well, happy 4th of July, everyone. 250 years with the craziest astrology, even crazier than 250 years ago. Although, I remember thinking about this astrology and being like, I know everybody's predicting some crazy thing on July 4th. That's Uranus. You think you know what it is, you don't. So I think it's funny. I'm sitting here doing this horoscope right now on July 4th, and every prediction out there of some crazy thing, and it's pretty chill. So I just wanted to say that to start off things first. I just think that's pretty hilarious, actually. We're in a new world when it does come to. Let me get my Beyond the Veil ticker going here with all the planetary aspects here. There we go. I just think that's really funny to start things off. It's good to be with you all. Hope everybody's having a good energy. This has been quite the astrology. I love doing astrology during these times. I think we are blessed as astrologers to do astrology now. I mean, and especially just even the last 20 years. I mean, the last time that I think the astrology was this cool and edgy was definitely the 60s. And we have it times 10. So I just want people to remember that, we're in this moment here this weekend, and we'll all be, of course, showing the charts. But I think we have to remember whatever comes up next, whatever the trend or too many people are thinking it will be, it won't be. I really want you to sit with that. So it's almost kind of like the savant who lives on the street who's yapping to himself probably has it more right. That's actually the energy that we're in now. And so wherever the collective or the mass energy right now attaches to too fast, very Pluto, Aquarius, Uranus, and Gemini, the trine that's building, Neptune and Aries, which we got to talk about that. The Neptune's beginning to station before it retrogrades on Tuesday morning. Wherever everything's collecting in an idea or, this is what it isn't. So I think that's going to be what helps us kind of relieve and break away from so much of the divisiveness and so forth. But there's going to be a lot of drama. That's for damn sure. I also thought I would jump on and do this video publicly since right now Jupiter is exact in its transit to my natal sun. And that comes once every 12 years. It was kind of cool 12 years ago because it was conjunct my sun exact during my birthday. So I had a Sun Jupiter solar return 12 years ago. And actually, that was the hardest year of my life. But it did bring me a lot of blessings. So, I mean, I've been an advocate in astrology to not give Jupiter so much credit. I think it's, of course it brings blessings. Of course it's a benefic. It's just oversold. It's also got, a lot of difficult things that come with Jupiter. And I think that being a horoscope astrologer, if you watch my horoscopes, I really do not give a fuck about Jupiter. I don't want to sell Jupiter. I'm not a Jupiter salesperson. I'm a hermetic astrologer. Mercury retrograde is a bigger deal than Jupiter. But when Jupiter comes into big aspects, like we're starting to see, then you pay attention. And it's not so much of what it's going to sell us here, but what's it going to expand without contraction at all? What's it going to over glorify? What's it gonna push the limits? So, a couple house cleaning things first. I do always like to show the image that I created for the horoscope. I know this is not a new moon or a full moon. I'm here because it's, well, a very big weekend astrologically, but also it is July 4th, and I am an American. And I think that all of us Americans, no matter what we view America as, has the patriot deep within us. Um, so here's the image that I did for this weekend. I kinda did steal it from my deep astrology this week, where I did it with me on a royal court, and everybody's, like, losing their minds a little bit. I think that's what's really interesting about, the astrology right now is it that America is crazy, or even if you're not in America, your life is so crazy on the outside? Or is it what we create in our heads, the stories and the facts don't align? The thing about this Mars Uranus conjunction that's happening in Gemini, we have to remind ourselves it's it's what the facts are that matter. It's not the stories. It's not the beliefs. And you see a lot of divisiveness over beliefs. I actually did a trolling test today. I actually saw some other account do a trolling test because of all this like man, woman, like war. So she put up a post of what, men would talk shit on women with. And then she made a post of what women are talking shit about men with. And then at the very end of her reel, she goes, "Oh, by the way, this is a troll test and we'll see which side wins." I'm not gonna let you know because I don't wanna cause that divisiveness at this moment, but it's really I got inspired to go, "Oh, Jupiter's on my sun." So I stayed up last night and I used AI, and I freaking totally avatared me, and what's crazy is I intentionally picked my voice not I can get my voice to clone perfect, right? But I purposely picked it to where it was like the cheaper model that didn't make my voice sound fully like me. And I thought about the Jupiter opposition to Pluto, and especially that Jupiter's on my sun. And I've just dealt with Pluto opposite my sun for 3 years. And this is going to be the bigger thing than Mars conjunct Uranus. Mars and Uranus are going to meet every 2 years. Okay. Jupiter opposite Pluto in these signs is only going to happen once in our life. Okay. Although technically we will give it one more time. That's what's so crazy about it. We will get it one more time in Leo with Pluto and Aquarius. So we're going to have two of them. But this one, very extreme because of the fact that Jupiter, Pluto, and the conjunction, of course, met in Capricorn 3 times back in 2020. So this is bringing up everything about 2020. So I made the AI video about some very hard truths about, like, I just got an MCP server to hook up to High Vibe finally. It took me a minute, but there's third parties involved, and so they take a little bit of time to get on AI to look at all my data. And so for me, it's like, man, April 2021, I saw the biggest blow ever. I saw, you I'm not gonna lie, 2020 was the best year of my life, business-wise. And then the second I started questioning Saturn and Uranus in square, which was in 2021, and experiments gone bad. And then there's this experimental gene therapy thrown in everyone's face for free. And I start telling people prior to that, don't get it before it comes out. Then I start saying to get it. And then I have a famous evolutionary astrologer. I won't name his name, but he's after a landscape is his last name. Um, Block me and say, how dare I ask him a serious question as an evolutionary astrologer? Like, why are you pushing this thing on people when We're in a Saturn Uranus square. Um, and I was curious. It wasn't to attack him. And then to have thousands upon thousands upon thousands, thousands, we're talking tens of thousands, leave not just my like social media, but my actual network. And to see that it stayed for 5+ years. And as Jupiter's on my sun right now, and I think about this for people in their lives, I'm using this as an example. So let me get there. Is that, I mean, just over the last 2 weeks, all the Fauci files are out. Um, Senator Ron Johnson in the Senate has put out all the data showing that connects with the Fauci files of the pressure campaign from whistleblowers within the government to not let the American public know that no, that shot was not working. No, it was causing actual huge safety signals. And for them to just keep, and so this is what I was saying, and this is what I got canceled for, and this is why I'm not going to the United Astrology Conference, which I've been for the last two, is, what we're in groups now that gatekeep and that cancel you if you question anything, and that's what I think this Mars-Uranus conjunction is about, and the courage with Jupiter and Leo is to question the crowd, to question the status quo, and that goes back to 2020, that goes back to 2021 with the Capricorn-Jupiter-Pluto conjunctions and with Jupiter-Saturn that met at 0 Aquarius, and Saturn in Aquarius that was in square to Uranus and Taurus. Like, everything is connected right now. We're at the peak moment that's over this next couple weeks of, are we all going to stay divided off of sides over what happened in 2020 when we all got screwed? I can't believe that people are still fighting for the side that screwed us. And this isn't about politics. It's just about people. Because if you actually look at the whole scope of things, and here's some truth, what Mars Uranus is making us do in the trine to Uranus, in the sextile to Neptune, in the beginning sextile to Jupiter and Leo, how do we come together and rise above? Because every single person you watch in politics on TV was part of the fucking bullshit. Every single person. They were all in on it. There's maybe like a couple that weren't. And I think that's where, and I've said this for many years, that is that Saturn Pluto conjunction, that Jupiter Pluto conjunction set this extreme thing that we're all going to have to face. And this is what the astrology is facing that now. And so you can be mad at people, or you could come together and like liberate people. But it's funny because I put up those AI videos and people were so triggered because I said, you know what? I'm not going to be a Leo anymore. You guys all want me to not say things that sound inappropriate. You don't want me to call things out. So I'm just gonna not. So I made an AI video of like a very robotic, like perfect Pluto Aquarius, like let me just follow the crowd version of me. Like, and I drink my green tea and I will never vape. And I'm, it's just it's really funny. But the triggering was insane. It was a great test that what the bigger drama is actually hidden beneath the surface, which is deeply aligned with what's happening with this Jupiter Pluto opposition. So let's take a look at that in this weekend's horoscope, because I think it's bigger than what people have been putting out there, right? People have been putting out like it's an event. Like, there is a culmination of events that's coming. And that's the other part about Uranus. I've always looked at it as like dominoes, kind of like V is for Vendetta. right? Like, there's that whole, like, kind of version that you could look at it like. All right, so let's do this, and let me move. There we are. So this is this moment right now. Yeah. So we'll just do it from here. I do like to use sheets, wheel. Here we go. Yeah. All right. So, oh, I'm not going to be able to do that. I need to just change it to window. I'm sorry. Give me one sec here. Place it with entire screen. This side of my screen share. Oh, that's the wrong side. Mercury retrograde. There we are. All right. So we've just seen Mars and Uranus make their conjunction over this last like hours. Now, was there an event? Not that I've seen. I could actually have some fun for you all and just I have my own, AI astrology news network that takes every story happening. And so that's going down below my face. And what does it say? It's like Florida beach lightning strike. That's see, it's never what you'd predict. But of course, with Uranus, it would be lightning. Virginia, Montana, top list of most patriotic states in new survey. Oh, okay. And these, I don't filter these by like politics. This is just AP News API. U.S. had no reason to attack Iran. I agree. Newsom faces criticism for state stance on trans athletes and girls' sports after the Supreme Court ruling. Okay. But my whole point is we're not seeing some crazy, the headline you were thinking that you were going to get. And that also means maybe in your life, right? So, like, if we come back to the astrology here, well, where'd you put me now? Oh, okay. We'll do that. That this Mars Uranus is actually, yeah, it's a big deal, but why is it a big deal? It's a big deal because it's the first one since the 40s. It's Mars is an activator. Mars is the one that activates planets very intensely on the first level. Of course, Pluto is the bigger activator. But also Mars is the energy that can cut an eclipse energy off when it passes the degree of an eclipse. That was when the eclipse was prior to it. And what's weird is, Mars Uranus together, it's kind of cutting off the 2020 eclipses and so forth. You could look at it that way over this next 3-4 weeks. That's like a radical different like change. We're far from that energy, and that's where Jupiter comes in. So Jupiter actually just hit 1 degree of Leo. I'm 055, so for me, it was these last like 5-6 hours. I had Jupiter exact to my sun transit wise, but we see Jupiter now within 3-degree orb of a lot of stuff. We see the beginnings of the opposition to Pluto. And so to me, that's the trigger. That's the story. That's going to be what it's about. And that comes back to when Jupiter was all the way around and it was in conjunction with Pluto 3 times. And you have to remember that Jupiter, Pluto, the time prior to Jupiter meeting with Pluto 3 times in conjunctions was in the 50s when it was in Leo. And that's when people started putting on suits and nice dresses and getting on airlines in America after World War II. What is this now, though? How do we express ourselves? Mars, Uranus, and Gemini. Mars is in great aspect to Neptune. That's beginning to slow down enough to where I say it's stationing. It's so slow, but it doesn't station until Monday into Tuesday when it will station retrograde, but we will see it do a 24-hour station period within 1 second, right? But Neptune only doing 5 seconds. But still, Mars in sextile to Neptune, Mars in trine to Pluto. This is where you can't say a bad event's going to happen with Mars Uranus. It's in perfect aspect and great aspect to Pluto. It's in great aspect to Neptune. It's got support that's going to keep things not too crazy. So it's like, what is this Mars Uranus about? How do you get out of the crazy? That's the big question. How do I get out of the crazy already? It's not about what's crazy coming down the pipeline. How do I get out of this crazy, not story, but how do I get out of this crazy environment, routine? South node's in Virgo still. It's like, how do I get out of this life that's not making sense? When there's a life that is almost presenting itself like it does, but it doesn't really reveal itself yet. Well, you've got to, like Gemini likes to do, right? Like you've got to be curious enough. And Mars Uranus to me is a leap. That's a gamble. It's a roll of the dice. You've got to be curious. I always think of the dog energy with Gemini. Like it's like, ooh, that smells good in the trash. Let's eat it and see. I mean, it might be good. It might be bad. You can only tell by when the humans go crazy, like, "Don't go in there." And you don't know if that's because it's really good food or if it's poison. You don't kn like, as a dog, you wouldn't know. So you have to yourself kinda be like this very childlike energy of being curious and seeing what is and what isn't. And that's where the fear, I don't think is there unless you're really afraid of disruption. From the chaotic. I mean, like, the chaotic is the weird world we've lived in, and this is the slow courage now that's built up that has to now be fully embraced. Now that Mars is conjuncted Uranus, like, hey, things have to change now. Things have to innovate. Things have to move forward to what factually, curiosity-wise, and that's interesting. There is no other way forward. And also, what is not aligning us, right? Uranus is about how things from all different places seem to not be connected, but are. And it's the moment of epiphany when they come together. So it's like in your life right now, what's really in alignment? What's not? The hard part is that we have Neptune's energy stopped. We have the North Node in Pisces finishing out here with a moon in Pisces. There's a lot that still has to be surrendered. That has to be, there's a big thing that you got to let go of. That's what I told people this week. That this wasn't going to be about some big event, right? Wasn't going to be about, I was like, it's not going to be an earthquake or whatever. Because whatever everybody thinks it is, it won't be. But it's more about you and how to embrace this moment. Like, there's a lot about embracing the life that's truly, of course, the authentic and most authentic version of yourself. And that kind of question sometimes is hard for people to answer. Like, it's like, I don't really know what to say or how to describe that for myself. It's like, well, it's not like the universe is like forcing you, but the universe is definitely saying, hey, what's not working anymore? This Jupiter in Leo is trying to bring the heat, the sun's energy. We have to expand into that. We have to explore there. We got Venus in Leo. We've only got like four more days left of this. And remember, the South Node is going to arrive soon into Leo. And so there's only this little moment here of like Have the confidence. Get out of this wherever you've chilled out too much, wherever that you've just been following what everybody does, or you're so worried about what everybody thinks. When you have Uranus involved, and now we've got Pluto and Aquarius and trine to Uranus and Gemini. I mean, for somebody like me and other maybe, you know, I won't even pick signs because it's like it doesn't matter the signs. If you're somebody who really doesn't give a fuck about what people think and you're just gonna do who you really are, like that's the ingredient here. Because even like Pluto and Aquarius wants that, right? Like it wants to go, let's find the boundaries of where your uniqueness are. And then once we know that boundary, we know that you can't push the uniqueness maybe too far that way. But it also brings up the hidden fears. It brings up where we're truly actually repressing ourselves, right? And it's finding rebellion, liberation. Especially it's Uranus trine Pluto. I mean, if you're an older person and you lived through the 60s, you've been waiting for this moment. It just might not look like the way you want it to look. Like the revolution, the the liberation is a completely different viewpoint now, right? It looks different than Virgo back in 65 in the conjunction, right? It's not gonna be hippie style, right? It's gonna be very Gemini Aquarius, like the way that America was going through the Revolutionary War 250 years ago. Which ironically, people always think America, oh God, it's the Pluto return. The Pluto return already happened in Capricorn. Of course, the Constitutional Convention and creating the Constitution, that's a Pluto Aquarius moment, but that's after a war. And yeah, there's some big debates. And there was money issues in America after the war and during the war. And they had to centralize a government in order to pay their debts and to pay the farmers because the farmers fed everybody. And I don't want to go too deep down the history rabbit hole, but it is July 4th. But a lot of it was because of the first rebellions of farmers that caused the constitutional conventions because they had no more customers because of the war being over and they had taken loans out. And the bankers were like, well, if you don't pay us, then we're going to take your land. And, you know, the Articles of Confederation just made every state do its own thing. And there was really no central government at all. It was wherever, you have to remember when Philadelphia got captured at the beginning of the war, after New York went first, then Philadelphia, like the constitutional, well, the all of the statesmen from these colonies that were calling themselves states all ran to Pennsylvania and to some small town to continue. And that's where they came up with the Articles of Confederation. There weren't even Articles of Confederation. That's the other thing is that the idea of Pluto coming into Aquarius was the Articles of Confederation too. So what does that mean for you now? Well, America is not going to be some fallen nation. The Pluto return happened, and we saw the worst of it. Pluto in Capricorn, the return was that this place is corrupt when it comes to control of the world and what COVID was, right? That's what it was just exposed 2 weeks ago. Our biolabs everywhere. We fund Wuhan. We fund all the medical treatments. We have the VCs that put the money in every country for every laboratory and every weird scenario and every weird operation. Okay, so that's clear now. But, the World Cup's here and people love this place. It, it, it's not so much. Every place has their corruption, but this is astrology that now is looking in different. It's looking at like, well, what matters in this moment. That's the other part. Gemini is about embracing the moment, and it's weird because this is a weird alignment. Uranus and Gemini. It's about trying to figure out in the moment what the facts are, not about 50 years ahead, not about 20 minutes ago. With it, Neptune and Aries, Pluto and Aquarius, it's very forward thinking, but in the moment. What's happening? So we're switching our own timeline right now in the astrology. Like, doesn't matter if you're searching for happiness with Jupiter now in Leo on the horizon. Like, when does that happen? Right now. That's the only way it's going to happen in your life. When you make a choice and go for that situation right now, anything that you wait for, right? Like, oh, let me wait and let me just let this thing kind of percolate and we'll see if it'll happen, and you don't do anything. Well, it might be there, but most likely some other thing will come into the mix. That's where when you add Uranus, you add Pluto in a trine, and you add Pluto in Aquarius, there's going to be other things that come in out of nowhere. So you have to jump on things, right? So the story that everybody was looking for is the story of some person right now that's making a move that nobody has heard yet because they're smart enough, they're jumping on it enough. So you have to look at your life now like, where am I being too caught up in the story? Too caught up into the story that other people are living, too caught up in the story of what I think will bring me happiness instead of what actually stimulatingly will. I think the hardest part of the astrology this weekend and the realization is that we all don't understand fully what that might be emotionally. We're in Cancer season. And, this Mercury retrograde is at 25 degrees of Cancer. And, you know, we already went through that Mars retrograde last year, okay, in Cancer. And that thing was hell, right? It took forever to get everything finally to move. And once it did, it was just like, and then it opposed Pluto. Oh, that was 2024, the end of it, beginning of 2025. But still, last year, right? And so here's Mercury crossing over that territory. Right? We're all like looking back at over, especially the end of 2024, beginning of 2025. Like, what the fuck was that? And then we're looking at when we finally had Uranus and Gemini in the summer last year, and Neptune was in Aries and Pluto in Aquarius. We saw all these three, but they just didn't come into full alignment like we're starting to see now. I think the other big thing about this weekend is this is that weekend where you start to realize with Jupiter now at 1 Leo, the sextile to Uranus is getting tight. Uranus and Neptune sextile is getting real tight. And Pluto and Neptune and Pluto and Uranus is trine. I mean, like all of this is getting tight. And this is not a bad thing. But I will say, and this comes from like stuff I've said prior, especially with Pluto Neptune sextiles, you know, they've been happening in a lot of us generationally. But when you get it within less than a degree in a natal chart for a person, that person never questions what their soul journey is, like what what is coming through, what to jump on intuitionally, like. And it's weird because you can see 2 to 3, 4, 5, like you within a 4-degree orb, but people once they're 1 degree off, 2 degrees off, they have trouble with like, "Hey, that's exactly what you should be doing." "I don't know. What? I didn't see that. You saw that?" So, we're at a moment where it's like there's no excuses. You can't put blame on anything outside. You can't also blame yourself so much because that's beating yourself up. Like the astrology is liberating right now. It's the liberation of like everything's possible. You might not understand everything emotionally or why you feel certain ways. Well, go out there and do something. Go out there and change it up. Go out there and make something different. But with Chiron and Taurus, now that was I think the sleeper that we went through this week was the square Chiron transit. Now, Jupiter, of course, Zeus is connected to Chiron and is the only one that can liberate Chiron. So Chiron and Taurus felt like in the story of Chiron, had the moment of like feeling like, well, I guess I'm going to be stuck as a mortal now. And I guess that I'm just going to have to die. Right. Like, I guess that's going to happen. Like, I guess there is nobody there to relieve me. And so you could be feeling a lot of pressure that I'm here to remind you to relieve yourself of this weekend, whether it's I'm holding this energy I hate, that I don't value, that I don't feel good about, and I just want a good thing to show up. Well, you have to create the good thing. Taurus Leo is about what you do with it. You've got an earth with everything around it, and you've got a heart, and you've got creativity built within you, right? Comedians aren't made by just everything going good. Comedians are made by finding the goodness and finding something funny and hilarious and wholesome through moments and where, gosh, I could use that relief moment right now. And finding that silver lining in the middle of hard shit. And this Chiron at 0 Taurus is a hard transit, especially because it's at the degrees in 1976 when it arrived last time, when it was 1 year before in 77 when it was discovered. So we're coming up to, 50 years of consciously being aware of Chiron, the asteroid that actually has been embraced more than anything in astrology, more so than Pluto, except us tropical Western astrologers and all the tropical Vedic astrologers have embraced Pluto. And Joni Petrie, give her credit too. But the rest of the planetary world has not. The rest of the world has not. Vedic astrology has never embraced Chiron. There's only a group of us out there. Not every Western and tropical astrologer embraces Chiron. I'll never forget the day that astro.com put Chiron as the standard. Like it's in, we'll put it in. I was like, oh my God, I don't have to add Chiron. So what I'm trying to say by that is that you're more supported than you realize. Now, Taurus is a hard sign. We just dealt with Uranus there. We had eclipses there over the years. We had Jupiter Uranus conjunct there. It's a sign that Chiron and Taurus is not easy. It makes us ask if we're worth it. It makes us ask, can I survive when I need money to survive? It's not so much about Scorpio where, well, let me put on some nice clothes and I'll attract somebody else's money, right? Because men and women do that. But Chiron and Taurus it doesn't matter what I'm doing to attract. Is my value there? Is it worth it? Do others see my value? With Pluto and Chiron beginning a long square over the next couple of years. that we're worried about whether or not people will see value in us, if other people will be there for us. And that's why you're seeing people feel like, I don't feel like there's any support. You're seeing it in relationships. You're seeing it in business. You're seeing it in the financial world. You're seeing it in who's the haves and the haves nots. Even though we equal it out, somebody might be a billionaire, but they're the most unhappy person on the planet. And then somebody might be poor and have nothing or losing things every day and not be happy about that, but be happy about their kids where the billionaire's like, let me not be around. I want to be on my yacht. Don't bring the kids. I'm empty. But there's still a hollowing out that everybody's feeling in some place of that we just wish we had that butter for the biscuit. But no, there's no butter. Oh. Or it's that crazy, creepy shit they made for years that I can't believe it's not butter or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, ugh, I'd rather have it without it. Thanks. So it's kind of like a dry biscuit that you have to eat just to keep going. But does it have to be that way? I think Jupiter, now that it's done with the squares, it's trying to teach Chiron, like, you have to, if you want to be mortal again, we're taking the old story, like, can you laugh about it? Like, that's kind of like I put myself in the story sometimes to try to understand him better. But, if Jupiter's in Leo, this would be Zeus kind of laughing, kind of like, he's going to be fine. I'm going to come take care of him. He's just going to have to make a sacrifice, give up his liver for Prometheus, but he'll be fine. And he's going to go guide. He's going to guide me. He's going to guide everybody. He's going to be the therapist. He's going to be a god. He's going to be a warrior that turns into the one that guides us all. Because he's the only god that could feel mortality and go back to becoming immortal without it having a negative connotation, like if you see in Greek and Roman mythology, or even Mesopotamian or anything. There's a lot of them where they try to bring lovers in and make them mortals from mortals to gods, and it always goes bad. So he's the only one that actually it goes good, and he becomes a guide for every centaur. And that's what's also a weird moment here, is that this is the wounding of the centaur and its value, which this might blow your mind, with Mars, Uranus, and Gemini now. Sagittarius is our great centaur that no longer is the way, right? So this is going to affect travel, culture, religion, beliefs, but especially stories in your head. You can't live by these stories anymore. The facts are different, right? And it's all about facts. It's all about, do you know how to communicate? Well, it's not about the big fish story anymore, and that gets people's attention. So Chiron in Taurus is the centaur's wounding of, does anybody want these big visions anymore? But are they visions or are they stories? I think what people are looking for now is substance. What people are looking for now is, well, there's a deep want for emotional calm. Yet that's just not in the astrology at the moment. It comes when it comes and you embrace it, and then you have to go back out there. And that's what I think this Mercury retrograde is realizing, because we have to remember that during these next couple weeks where we see the great alignment, there is no other alignment I could call the great alignment. We can give it all these basket names and cradle names and shit. It's the great alignment. Once we see Jupiter at 4 and Uranus at 4, and Neptune's going to retrograde on Tuesday, so it'll be Neptune-Pluto retrograde for this great alignment, but Jupiter-Uranus, it'll be direct. I think by the time we get there, that's so weird that Mercury's still retrograde, and then it'll start to understand that maybe a lot of what we're looking for to get us through our discomforts is not what the answer was we believed that we had. It's very much like The Alchemist, like the story, like that treasure's beneath you all the time. You don't need to go on some journey to find it. It's whether or not you have the courage to love, to be, to express yourself. You don't need to worry about what everybody thinks online, but you have to still be a good, decent human being. The boundary of Pluto and Aquarius is you're human, so right. It's okay to joke, and we have to remember that humor is Jupiter, especially in Leo. Pluto and Aquarius is not humor. It's actually kind of extremely cold and almost cynical, right? Like humor, like dark humor. But there's kind of a combo of both. Leo and Aquarius, they see on the same axis, polarity wise, the same color, just way different shades of it, but they see the same way. They're both rebellious because they're willing to not care and worry about what everybody else does and trying to be a copycat of another person. But Pluto will manipulate, will try to convince you to be like everyone else. It's Pluto in Aquarius that brings the dark side of Aquarius, which is to copycat, which is to follow what everybody's doing. And we've had social media since 2004 with MySpace. I've had it over 20 years. Yet, isn't it ironic now that it's peaking in the craziness that it is? The social situations that come up now are about men against women, women against men. Everybody is not good for a relationship. Pluto and Aquarius, right? Because what you're going to see next is it'll get over the whole love thing when this whole Jupiter opposite Pluto ends in Leo. And Jupiter will be in Leo for a year. So there'll be a lot of that. But it'll now move to like, these are the kind of friends, these are the kind of people. But we've been seeing little trickles of that. So this is about the social contracts being really dug up and graves and stories and all these things about them and wanting to resurrect and criticize South Node Virgo still, right? Every part that makes us unhappy. And the only thing that's going to make you happy that the North Node's teaching us in Pisces as it's ending is let go of it. And you know what? I'll be the first one to say I'm not perfect. It is not easy to let go of shit. And even having fun today and doing the test inside, I'm like, man, I was doing so good. People like me as the father and shit. But man, Jupiter's on my sun. I'm gonna be the Leo king and have some fun. And just to see that 15% so triggered still did hurt. Some people actually believed it was me. Some people, are you really going to just be doing AI like as me? I'm like, I'm not replacing me on camera as AI. Whenever I do something, there's a message to decode. And we have to remember we live in a world now where, speaking of social media, these AI podcasts that aren't real people get more views than any of us that do content creation. So I don't know why you're tripping on me. You know what I mean? I love the astrology though. It might be hard to try to get excited for it, and I don't think that the universe is asking for you to be excited. It's just asking for you to be aware, show up, be curious, and you don't have to be it doesn't have to be some celebration. It doesn't have to be some big thing. I think that Mars Uranus is teaching us because it's small things in Gemini. It's like pay attention to the small things in life that work. That's where you really wanna move your energy towards. Is the small energies are what are everything now. There's only small things that matter. The big stuff is not gonna feel big. Like, July 4th, 250 feels like the most, another 4th of July. It's just a number off a fucking Gregorian calendar, and to be honest with you, there's a lot of research on whether or not that July 4th was Gregorian or if it was Julian. So, but you could still count 250 revolutions of the sun. But 250 is nothing to freak out about or, astrologically, it really doesn't prove much. It's past the Pluto return. But I think it just coincides with the greatest, most radical astrology that's ever existed, which we are, well, we're at 13 degrees now in the next hour, which is actually more of America's return. So 15, 2 weeks. When's the 18th coming? I'm doing math in my head now. 14, 2 weeks away. If we actually look at Sunday's astrology, Jupiter's there. Mars moves to 5 degrees. And so Mars is already out of the trine to Pluto and out of the sextile to Neptune. And so I think that this Mars is asking for you to do a reboot. Focus on what matters in the small things, but don't get lost in worry so much. Whatever's not going to work, you have to let go. Because you can't push yourself to craziness to try to hold on. That Chiron is the hard part in Taurus. I want to hold on. I don't feel like I can be who I am if I lose this. It's like very much the evil queen in Snow White. So people with Chiron and Taurus have that in them, right? Like if I lose my beauty and Snow White's more beautiful than me, or if I lose this thing I hold that I value, then I'm lost without it. If I don't have this thing, then what do I do? Right? I have a moon in Taurus, so trust me, like, there's my eye drops I like, there's this I like, but when I have to use the brand that's not the thing, then it's like, but it's still there. Most people would be like, "What do you mean? It's an eye drop." I'm like, "Yeah, but it's not fucking the ones I use." And it's like I have to, like, let go and, "Oh, okay, it worked, it got me through," and then you get over it. But with Chiron, it's like, what are you not getting over if you have to let go of something that what, is it gonna ruin your life? Is it really a necessity? That's the deeper question. We're in the very, you know, just true basics of life now of like all these extreme overfilled cups of life that we dream about are not going to work anymore. So I feel bad. I know, it's so funny. A lot of people wrote to me on my fucking trolling AI videos. Like, I left because you were so political. It's like, okay, it was like I'm being told I cannot leave my house. Hello, I'm gonna be political. I'm being told I can't go anywhere unless I get a shot. I can't go to an astrology conference unless I line up to take an experiment. Unless I jam something up my nose that's proven to be 40% failed shit. Sorry, not gonna comply. In my life now, most people that watch me know I fucking called this fucking administration out just as much as I did the Biden one. I am not for the war in Iran. I am not for the way that things have been going. Yet everybody will like, you can't let go of that. I'm willing to let go. If I saw anybody in any of these orgs, if I saw anybody that really hates me, I'd still be chill and nice and respectful, but I wouldn't cancel them. I think that's where, we're going to get back to basics because of there's two, that's a complicated thing, but it's like, because we're at Neptune in Aries, Saturn, Chiron in Taurus, Uranus, Mars, Gemini, Sun, Mercury, retrograde, Cancer, Jupiter, Leo, Venus, Leo. The only planet that's not in the first five signs is Pluto. And he hides. And he's way far south. Let's not forget that we are a month and a week away from him going out of bounds again. Right? So like Pluto right now is at 23 south in declination in 10 minutes. He's going to be going more south, out of bounds. We can't see Pluto. Okay? Pluto left the ability from us on Earth to see Pluto. Even if you have a telescope, you need to have one out in space, and that thing needs to be fucking positioned correctly. Okay? And that's why they used New Horizons and used the Voyagers and shit to get data over to us for the last pictures of Pluto in 2018, because they knew this is the end. This is our Pluto's going south in declination. So this is just like this hidden repressed planet that actually is very much an activation in all these aspects happening. Jupiter opposite Pluto. This is going to be the big, extreme, where's my life going? What do I need? What do I want? How do I get it? What's the big picture here? My beliefs that need to do this, but then Pluto's like, aren't do you? There's gonna be a big battle. The world's about to go through big dramas, but they're gonna be over little things. That's what you're seeing. But it'll be a culmination of all these things that have lasted the last 6 years, 6.5, that are about to blow up, right? Like the whole COVID thing, the whole fucking all the crazy corruption that happened in 2020 and 2021, right? Even with Jupiter now in Leo, that's the alignment of Jupiter Neptune trine. That's the alignment of Jupiter that's going to trine Saturn. We're out of the Jupiter square Saturn now. I think that what's kind of the fumble here for a lot of us is like as a collective is that we think it's going to be so like bad when really it's like we're holding on to our own shit that we have to let go of to free ourselves to get into a completely new way of things to work. Like the way that my kids see the world is not definitely not the way I see it. I love that. I love being with my kids. It's my favorite thing because they see the world so differently. And I lose track of the world I used to look at. But like, you know, when I'm not with them, like, right now, like, it's like, "What? This world's crazy. People are crazy." I can't even make a joke anymore without people fucking losing it. And I think that's the Jupiter Leo opposite Pluto is Pluto's gonna have to, like, stop gatekeeping of like, "Well, everybody wants this. You can't be this way." "Oh, okay. Well, I'm still gonna be it. What are you gonna do about it? You're gonna throw lettuce at me and you're gonna make a bad comment and I'm gonna pull out. I'm never gonna fucking support you ever." "Oh, okay." Like that, what a move. What we have to all come together and stop putting energy into is what really doesn't have a heart, that really doesn't care, which is everybody connected to 2020's bullshit, which is our governments, which is the way this world's run. Are we as the people gonna change things in every country or not? I mean, that's not a political left or right thing because we know that they're both tied at the hip. I mean, if you don't read those Epstein files, even though they're not fully out yet, but that's what you see. So I think that this is a moment for you to realize like your shit can let it fall apart that needs to fall apart. There was a lot of breakups over the last like 3, 4 days. I saw it all over social media, all everywhere. And I thought I saw Taylor Swift got married. It's like, oh yeah, okay. Interesting. But good for her too. I hope it goes well. Although I've learned lessons with Uranus in marriages. Right. Like that shit don't work. So, I think you have to we all have to find a way to be friends is what the astrology says and be able to like take what others have to say without being triggered. And that especially applies in relationships like but like we also have to be our own witness to our own emotions and how are we just living through our emotions or are we able to kind of let them feel fully and go, okay, what feeling here is this a quick reaction? Is this, because this Mercury retrograde, the sun is in square to Saturn. This is not an easy moment. There are big choices. There are hard frustrations people are dealing with right now. We are all dealing with something that feels impossible, but it's not. Get through it. Keep the grind going. But don't grind yourself out in things that deplete you to a place where you hate it. Don't lose your mind on being obsessed over some person that you don't like. Or if that's all you're focused on all day, like that would be crazy. Focus on you. Focus on how do you contribute to yourself first to make your life better? Then that makes other people's lives better. This is definitely the gas mask has to come back, or the gas mask, the fucking oxygen mask has to come back on for yourself first to get enough oxygen to see clearly again, to have your brain activate again, to have your frontal cortex think straight again and focus on the little things that are around you and get those back into excitement and everything. And that's what this moment's about. It's the shift that's happening within all of us. Do I have to sit in this cesspool that I live in that it's really not as bad? And what are the things that can fall apart? This South Node Virgo is the end of you living in the way we're supposed to live, the life that it's supposed to look like. We got to dream bigger in a different way now. We have to see a new horizon. And the outer planets here are saying we have to do that, and we have to find a way that we all come together, and there's gonna be very big differences of opinions, but if we can at least agree on a lot of the same facts, we're gonna do much better. And one thing about Uranus here is it's gonna help us do that. I'll use for context one more thing about the American Revolution. So when they, the 13 colonies and creating a Declaration of Independence, like they all wanted to be their own places, right? And so that was like the idea of the colonies anyway. And so it really wasn't until after 1775 when they're coming up with this idea that, you know what, after we've done a Boston Tea Party, we've already seen all this corruption that we see from the British Empire. Let's make an army. Okay, our army doesn't have food, it doesn't have clothes, it doesn't have weapons. It's barely surviving. We have to come together and figure some of this shit out. Oh, I like being independent. So they didn't come together really well, right? Militias are what helped us win the war in the South. Washington was good about retreating and moving people back and having to train people at Valley Forge, right? It wasn't like it was a fucking mess. And that's Pluto and Aquarius. All the cords behind your computer, behind your TV, like it used to be. If it's pretty simple now. They don't have that, but like under your bed or wherever, we have cords everywhere that still live in our lives. And there's always a tangle. You always perfectly line them up, and it's all tangled up. And so this is about just not losing it and remembering that America's founding was there was people who wanted slavery, there was people who didn't, and they all had to compromise in a crazy weird way and find facts and try and make it as best as they could to find ways for things to evolve forward. And that's going to be using history too. What always happens, like it's not going to be exactly what you want. There's going to be backlash. But the more that you can find compromise and find a way to, okay, we agree on this, we agree on this fact, we agree on this one, you can start seeing a path forward. That's Mars Uranus conjunction. Like somebody wrote a comment on my AI video thing, my trolling was like, you just used the energy of a whole lake and sucked all the water out of the lake using your AI. I was like, oh my God. We can agree to disagree that my one or my two videos um, took all the energy of one whole entire lake for a data center. But I can agree that the questions about data centers in the future is a very important matter. There's a big difference, right? There's a big difference on that the astrology of 2016 through 2020 and what I saw is why I aligned with the political right, especially in 2020, 2021. My main thing of 2021 and forward was about health. And whoever aligned with freeing us from that tyranny, 2024 and forward has been about I have kids. I wanted RFK and independent. And that's the ticket that's who I voted for. And it's crazy. And it's Gemini, so I'll say the truth. I know a lot of liberals that are spiritual that voted for RFK Jr. for to get shit out of our food. He's doing as best as he can. He's not perfect either. And to me, when you start looking at things like that, it goes much better. The one thing that a lot of people agree on that you can't talk about publicly, and I won't right now, that's actually where more people see in common, but very Pluto and Aquarius can't say anything about it. But we have to remember that all people are not bad. We can't you can't do the sad thing, you can't group people. All those people, all those liberals, all those Republicans, all those MAGA, all those this, all those Europeans, all those, and we all are we're all victims to our own self of doing that to our and inflicting our own wounds on that. And we've all fucked up and said the wrong thing. We're in a world where forgiveness, now that Neptune's out of Pisces, is not easy. The more that you can find it, though, you'll realize that the forgiveness that you need to focus on is like yourself when you make a bad move and move forward and keep moving forward, right? But if you can't let anything go, you're not moving forward. That's Neptune and Aries, right? Like the people who moved west the last time Neptune and Aries happened, like they moved and they got out of a lot of things and they had a much more interesting life. And you have to look at every Neptune and Aries, like the people who make the moves kind of do get their spiritual story. The last time we had Neptune and Aries and Pluto and Aquarius, it was Henry VIII leaving the Catholic Church and creating his Church of England in the schism. But at the same time, it was the Spanish that were going and taking over the Incan Empire and the Aztecs out for being blood sacrificing people and trying to convert them. And they didn't try. They did convert them into Catholics. And so you could be upset about the moves, but you're just upset because you're not making them yourself. One last thing. Where is it? Oh. Here we are. So, what was this? Here it is. I just want to say, one, thank you so much to everyone that's got my book. But I just did a big Substack. I'll put it in my comment section here of why I made the Pluto book before America turns 250, and then why I went all in on AI. It also goes into, of course, just a personal part of the astrology. It's aligned with me, but it's a much deeper story with the future and AI from an astrological perspective and what I've been building. And of course, then, yeah, my book, which right now it's one of the top sellers now in astrology. And so I really appreciate that. If you do want to get it on Amazon, it just came down in price because so many people are buying it. So they just dropped it 31%. So it's like $34 now. Because I did the highest quality printing and cover, and I self-published. And this book has two versions. The only way to get the 650-page version is on my website as an EPUB. Just it works for your Kindle or it works for your Apple Books or anything like that. The trade edition that I did that's 320 pages, is on it. It lost me there for a second, I'm back. Um, but the trade book is it's more of a digestible book. It's not the crazy astrologer 650-page edition with every, like, kinda Pluto thing, even though I do cover it in this, but it's a lot more easier to digest. I have 2 different versions. Um, and then make sure that you get Robert Phoenix's book. I was about to just see right now because I did the forward to that, but he's my brother is an astrologer, and he launched his book a couple weeks ago. Where is this? Oh, yeah, right now I'm sitting at number 37 in bestsellers, and in new releases, I'm at number 3. Yes, thank you. I don't know who this guy is, but I thought it was kind of funny because I was like, "Oh, who's this person? Oh, he's Hay House Publishing. Oh, that's cool to self-publish and be the Hay House publisher." So, I appreciate all the love and definitely getting me there, but then, yeah, Robert's sitting at number 7 right now, and Amanda Walsh is a great friend of mine too. She's number 8, so it's great when I see it, 3 of us that are on the YouTube astrology world, being at the top of, new releases, and then I think oh, yeah, I'm number 22 now in bestsellers. Okay, we are getting there. I was number 1 in 2019, so it's been 7 years, but I'm back and climbing the charts. This is my first time telling everybody on YouTube, but, it's called Where the Occult Lives. The astrology of power, shadow, and the soul's hidden contract. And so, for people who took my Pluto class, they'll know a lot more deeper about the soul contract and how deep I take it. I connect it with John Dee's hieroglyphic monad, um, why Pluto's glyph is like an egg. I go into some really deep shit that nobody's ever covered. And I'm also taking, you know, some old Renaissance astrology and some of the secrets that I think they were showing when they were supposed to not know about Pluto, but there's a lot of evidence that they did. So I think it's a very deep book that you'll enjoy. Also on this Substack, of course, Hypergate AI, of course, is killing it right now. I appreciate everybody for that. We're blowing up. The Android app will be out soon. The iOS app's been out. We have another update coming up. But we are the AI astrology human design app. Like we are the one. We have blown the whole. It's been 2 years since we launched. And then I just made it 25%. It's not on here, but all my AI services, if you want to build AI or if you want me to consult you or just set you up with how you're going to build your business, and especially if it's spiritual based or I would like to focus more on spiritual based things. But that all my services, I've just actually put it till July 6th to 25% off. And there's a lot of different ones. If you need me to build it for you, you need me to just advise, you want me to just help you set it up, you want me to make an app for you, you want me to actually and set it everything up to where here, this is your admin logins, you own it all, and you're done. You're ready to go, and this is how you update. And you want me to monthly help you with it? You don't. I'm here to help with that. That's my whole life. I've moved everything over the last 2 years to just being an AI developer and spirituality. And then for the very big nerds out there, I created my own API, and I haven't told people about this yet. So I'm going to show you really quick. So for those that have already been building an AI or out not AI, maybe just you have a service, but everybody has hit me up since the launch of Astromystic, which then turned into Hypergate. Oh, build the dating astrology app. And that was actually something I wanted to do for since 2016, 2017, and then 2018. But after so many people, like we're talking like legit 50 plus voicemails, emails, like serious, like I'll give you 20%, I'll give you 50% of the company. Just help me build that shit. I was like, I'm just gonna build the API that people can do. And so if you don't know what an API is, I would research that. But it's a point of entry that connects into your software, and especially today with AI, but into whatever you're running your whether it's a service or whether it's a actual like platform. Um, oh yeah, let me go to the API. And then the docs are at the bottom right here. So like all these little endpoints here, like let's say you have a business and you have um all of your customers' birthdays and you're a clothing company. My API will go through and say, what are your products? Let me see all the products. Okay, this person send them send let's group all these people in an email. These charts want this product. These charts these clients don't. These clients want this. And send all of these clients that email at this moment. Um all of the different stuff I've made over the last couple of years, like future partner vision, love reveal, crystal ball vision, oracle ask, tarot draw, that's the only tarot API that actually does reversals and that draws the tarot where the AI does it like a human would, instead of it just be an like a jack, like a slot machine. Like my the like that took me a month and a half to actually make it actually draw and understand cards and actually do reversals and actually understand all of them. Past life readings, synastry charts, compatibility scores. These are all for like dating app stuff too. Natal chart calculation, transit chart calculation, the current sky, a lunar phase, a daily horoscope in the way that I have like set daily horoscopes up because I've done one daily every day for 14 and a half years, video. Timing windows for world events because I do that. Mundane hot zones. And then Michael Erlewine has sent me a lot of his stuff, and I'm building a Helio star type one right now. That one's a background one, and it's planned to come out. And all of Michael Erlewine's work, I have to still talk to him about some of that stuff, but he's been sending me all of his work for the last couple months, and I've been working in the back end because I believe so much in all that he's done, and especially with heliocentric astrology and tropical based. And I've got it all there. So I got to talk to him next week. I got it for him to work on the back end with me on. But that stuff, that's future stuff, and there'll be some free API stuff that'll come out with that stuff too. Um, but yeah, so if you're interested in that stuff, you can get access to that now. That's all at the leokingai.com, and that's where you get also if you want to do the services part. Also for the big nerds out there, my SLM. I've already got it done. I would love to work with somebody else to add some maybe more data where you would never need to use Claude or OpenAI for astrology. So like right now I can run my SLM on any computer and not have internet and it do full astrology and do all of the things you'd ever expect, tarot cards, everything like without internet. I'd like to blow that thing up more. But I need people who are at that kind of level with me. So I'm already at, making it to where there's a SLM that would be public, that would be free, that would work in all of our phones forever. So there's a lot going on. But I appreciate it. Thanks so much for everything. I appreciate you all very much. And yeah, I just really am very appreciative to spend so long being with you all doing this work. And just keep pushing, just keep getting through, focus on the little things and don't get caught up in too big of where everything is, and it'll happen. It'll surprise you. The thing that you think will happen won't. The thing that you don't think will happen will. So, much love to you all. Stay positive out there. Happy 4th of July. And try not to be so triggered out there, especially over this next couple weeks, because whether this opens up a portal, whether this opens up a new timeline or new energy comes in or opens up a World War III that's crazy, whatever it might be, we're only going to get through it all in a positive or the negative together. And you can't be a triggered person. You can't, you're going to have to you have to remind yourself that just as much as you're allowed to express your light, everybody else is too. Don't gatekeep, right? Don't try to control other people. Don't try to tell people and don't try to live your life as a victim. That's not going to get you anywhere. I love you all very much. I'll see you on the next one. Adios. Bye.